Education is super important. If you get a good education, you're more likely to succeed in life. On the flip side, if your education isn't so great, your chances of success go down. We think so. We believe that when parents are well educated, they can pass on their knowledge and skills to their kids, giving them a better shot at doing well in school and being successful in the future. Let's explore why education matters a lot when it comes to building a bright future. We, as the proposition, agree with the motion that folks with higher education should have kids, and we're here to explain why. Our model for this debate is that when we say we would incentivize them to have children, we don't mean essentially with money or make them quit their job or stay at home with the child, but maybe give them a better job, more earning in a field which we know is their forte, and can benefit the child grow into a better person. Our burden in this debate is to demonstrate the importance of why people with higher education should be incentivized to have children, and to argue in favor of the motion. We aim to illustrate why these people will benefit the stakeholders and the world in many aspects. An example can be the economic and academic and much more aspects. Now, moving on. My first argument for this debate is economic contribution. People are talking about whether the government should really encourage smart people to have kids. We think it's good. They should have kids. Because obviously they've put effort in getting a good education and have put effort to get to a certain stage where they have enough money. If they have the funds to raise a child, this could benefit the economy as they're putting in more funding for the child's needs, such as if the child is to study, you get him textbooks, pens. If you need the child to sleep, you get him a bed. You need a house. So the child adds to the expenses, getting more taxes, helping the economy of a country grow, and helping the government in many ways. This is also important because it helps you find a good balance that helps everyone and lets people decide for themselves. Our second argument for this debate is the educational environment they grow up in. Kids with well-educated parents might have a better learning atmosphere at home. This could help them do well in school and later on become part of a more skilled and knowledgeable workforce. When parents have a good education, they can share their academic results and knowledge, giving them a strong foundation to build up for their future. In the long run, having parents who value education can positively influence a child's learning journey, shaping them into strong individuals with the skills and knowledge needed for the challenges ahead. Not only that, it benefits the child grow as when you have an educational environment that benefits you, you can study you can study better and have better concentration while studying. Because studying doesn't only help you get a job; it helps you obtain more skills in life, which this will also help us do. With this, I'd like to end my speech.
Can
Happy to
you
be
imagine
host.
a world in which highly educated individuals are incentivized to have children, and if they do have children, they get rewarded? Is the word that side proposition is suggesting is completely unrealistic and disadvantageous for all of society, and ensures that not only do these highly educated individuals get bribed into having children in the hope that these children turn out to be smart too, but also that no other part of society is rewarded in the same way if they have children. Not only will side propositions' imagined world cause many highly educated individuals to become drastically less successful in their jobs and careers due to the dedication and labor of being a parent requires, but it will also demotivate those who are not highly educated individuals, as they will not be rewarded for having children. Now, before I begin my substantives, I would like to rebut the proposition. They have said that if you have intelligent parents, they will almost definitely teach you and positively influence you. However, this is not the case. Parents need to worry about their jobs, especially highly educated individuals who have really important jobs that they need to attend to, which they will probably prioritize instead of teaching their children at home when they are already going to school. Further, they neglected to think about the parents' point of view and has not mentioned how drastically parents will be affected from having to stay at home and
POI.
avoid to yes.
We've stated that parents are incentivized to have children. We're not forcing them. So if they prioritize their job more, it's their choice if they want to have the child or not.
Yes, but as I will explain further, incentivizing these highly educated individuals will act as a very bribing feature to encourage them to have children. So now into my substances. Primarily, highly educated individuals should not be incentivized to have children, as it will prevent them from being successful in their jobs and careers. If these individuals are incentivized to have children, more of them will end up to have and raise children. It is already proven that raising and bearing a child is extremely tiring and will take away from the parent's job and career. This will be the same for highly educated individuals who become parents, thus meaning they won't be able to devote as much time to their work as they could before. I have three mechanisms for this argument. Firstly, highly educated individuals will be less successful in their future jobs and careers, since they will have less time to devote to work, as most of the time will be devoted to their children, such as while teaching the children, caring for them, feeding them, etc. To illustrate, highly educated individuals are only able to keep expanding their knowledge, and in fact they were only able to get the title of a highly educated individual due to them being able to spend time and give so much time for what they earned a master's degree or another type of degree on. If these highly educated individuals are prevented from having as much time to work, they will be less able to give so much time and effort to their job, and thus will not be able to maintain the status of a highly educated individual. Secondly, if even if highly educated individuals are still somehow able to devote time to
POI.
their yes.
A highly educated individual is not classified by his work. He is classified by what he's achieved in his school and college life. What do you think about that?
So to this we say that's true, but highly educated individuals are mostly known for, after they get such degree, they will go on to work in a highly paying job, and this my second speaker will elaborate on. So continuing, they will still not be able to be as successful and productive anyways in their jobs and careers due to the fact that raising a kid undeniably causes issues such as fatigue, loss of concentration, anger, and it is even scientifically proven to emphasize emotions felt by a parent. This means that no matter what, if highly educated individuals raise a child for at least 15 years or until their child is fully grown and mature, they will keep having to take care of the child and keep deteriorating in terms of their work life. In addition, many parents, especially highly educated individuals who became parents, report being unable to work as well as they could before, with their capacity for work significantly decreasing and coping power similarly getting worse. Thirdly, despite any of what I've just said, highly educated individuals won't have as much money as they need to support a business-focused life, since so much of that income will be spent on their children and their children's needs. For example, millions of thank you, and this is why I'm proud to affirm.
Good morning to the House at large. The motion for the round reads that this House believes that the state should strongly incentivize highly educated individuals to have children, right? As second speaker of a proposition, I stand to A, rebut, B, bring in new material in this debate, and C, summarize mine and the first speaker's arguments, right? For my rebuttals then. Um, the LO stated that the LO said that it's not right that only educated individuals are incentivized to have kids, right? The reason here that we're incentivizing only educated individuals to have kids is because obviously they would have a better work life, right? So if they would feel that they might not be able to balance their work life and their home life with a child and everything. Hence, they're more likely to not have kids or have less kids should they have kids, right? Hence, we would incentivize them to have kids to create a better to create a smarter generation, a better workforce, etc. I will be speaking about this in my first argument of enhancing global competitiveness, right? For my second rebuttal, then, opposition's only point was how parents won't have time to educate the children in amidst their work life when the kids are already going to school, right? An obvious clarification here is that we don't want them to sit at home and school the child, but that they would be aware of the right career path, or be able to guide their kid towards the right form of education, right, which leads to smarter kids. So no panel, this is not an assumption that this policy would ultimately culminate in a smarter
POI.
generation, but in fact it's a fact. B, the individual, no, not now. If the individual feels like they won't be able to work while raising their child, it's not necessary for them to have the kid in the first place, right? We're just incentivizing them. We're not forcing them into anything. For my first argument, then, enhancing global competitiveness. What do we mean by enhancing global competitiveness, and why is this important? Skilled workforce, right? Which means to say that investing in education ensures a skilled workforce with diverse talents and expertise. B, innovation and technology, right? Children from highly educated parents are more likely to contribute to innovation, pushing the nation forward technologically, right? C, attracting investment. A knowledgeable population attracts global investment as businesses seek skilled labor and potential for research and development, etc. Right? The market competitiveness. The influx of bright minds fosters a dynamic market, enhancing competitiveness on a global scale. And long-term sustainability, which means to say that investing in education ensures long-term competitiveness, safeguarding against global economic challenges and uncertainties. For my second argument, then, on social norms and development, right? What do we mean by this? We mean that the state incentivizes challenge. The state incentivizes challenge expectations, right, such as conventional expectations, right, as traditional gender roles where the woman stays at home and the man works, right. This happens because we're incentivizing the educated woman, most of which would be working women. We thereby teach both the father and the mother a work-life balance as they raise their child. If not father and mother, then father and father, mother and mother, right. Why this is important then? A, significant influence and access to sexual and reproductive health services, especially for adolescents, right? B, creation of more inclusive environment for family planning and education. This is my last minute is protected time. I can't take a POI. C, enhanced benefit policies for diverse reproductive and family needs. And D, and most importantly, it helps in redefining social norms for a reason mentioned prior. Right. All in all, we've spoken to you about why we would categorically incentivize highly educated individuals to have kids, how this enhances global competitiveness, and how this helps in redefining social norms, and how this benefits the economy. Here, I'd like to conclude
As
my
of the
speech.
world right now, many highly educated individuals go on this pursuit of knowledge to utilize it for the benefit of the community. To do this, they need a lot of dedication and commitment, and as a result, have little time for anything else. The proposition believes that the state should strongly incentivize highly educated individuals to have children. As the opposition, we find that the idea has many flaws in it, and we will explain why. My arguments are that we have to respect their opinion because motivating them could overwhelm them and won't be able, and that incentivizing them and them having children would mean that they wouldn't have issues supporting their business-focused life. But before I begin, I would like to point out some of the holes in the opposing team's case. To begin with, their most disregards the parents who try to have their children in a good future, but aren't good themselves, as my first speaker has stated. Their first speaker also stated that kids with highly educated children, highly educated individuals with children with highly educated parents are able to have a brighter future as their parents are able to teach the child skills. However, we say this is wrong for two reasons. The first being that most highly educated individuals have jobs that require a large amount of dedication and commitment, so there will be less time for the child, which probably isn't so good for the child, as my first speaker has stated. It is often that people underestimate how much time and energy is needed to raise a child. Second reason is that even if they have time, just because they are highly educated, it doesn't necessarily mean they are logical or good with children. It's often that they are neither, and them having children could be a result from them having increased pressure, as I will state later. The second speaker said how we would be creating a skilled workforce. However, we believe that if we continue this way, eventually everyone will just become extremely smart, and then there will be no one who we can really consider extremely smart because everyone would eventually be on the same level of education. Now onto my substantives. First and foremost, we should respect the opinion of highly educated individuals. Like any other person, highly educated individuals probably do not enjoy being rushed through life and getting told what they should and shouldn't do. People tend to find it overwhelming and rude, especially if the topic is something they don't feel comfortable discussing. However, because they aren't currently being pressured by the state, which are people of great authority and power as they are the state, they can feel at ease with themselves. They have sufficient time to do what they want. However, after implementing the model of that the opposing team has offered, even if it's just so-called motivation, highly educated individuals could end up feeling pressure over not having children, which could lead to them forcing themselves to believe that they should have a child like everyone else says. Eventually, everyone crushes under pressure after a while. This would be bad because it would affect the work and inner peace of the highly educated individuals, and this pressure would have extremely negative consequences. In my second argument, I will prove to you why highly educated individuals won't have as much money as they need to support a business-focused life, since so much of their income will be spent on their children and their children's needs. For example, millions of dollars are spent on a child's food, toys, and other wants and necessities that parents cater for just in a child's first 20 years. That means that for someone who earns $200,000 a year, which is more than the average doctor earns per year, that is more than 5 years of income. This clearly will hinder highly educated individuals from being able to focus much on their work. And thus is another reason why we should definitely not incentivize and bribe these individuals to have children. Further, not only will today's generation of highly educated individuals face these problems, but instead, this will close a huge loop. To illustrate, if in the rare case that a highly educated individual does bear a child who has inherited the intelligence genes, then contrary to what the proposition believes, instead of benefiting the country, it will actually cause it will actually cause the same thing that happened to the first highly educated individuals to happen again. So as to say that their children, if they become highly educated individuals as well, will face the same problems, if not more, and more exasperated issues. In conclusion, this state should not incentivize highly educated individuals to have children, as rather than motivating them, it could just overwhelm them and they wouldn't be able to support a business-focused life.
Ladies and gentlemen, in my speech, I will do two things. I will begin with rebuttals, then move on to two clashes, and then a conclusion of the proposition's case and telling you why we win this debate. Now, before I would like to start with my clashes, I would like to point out that the opposition's first speaker said about how these highly educated individuals will get bribed and pressurized. However, again, firstly, they didn't really elaborate on them. Again, they assumed the meaning of incentivize. When we say incentivize, we don't mean directly paying money to the highly educated individuals. We mean through other stuff like implementing better work policies, like I will elaborate further in my clashes. The second speaker also stated that it will overwhelm them and that it will remove them for business. Firstly, I will again elaborate this in my clash, but at the end of the day, we're just assuming that, and like I said, we're not giving them money, right? We're incentivizing better work policies and for the work system to also become more supportive. So it's a win-win. Not only do the highly educated individuals get to have children, and these children will obviously turn out to be better, like I will elaborate and my speakers have already said, but at the same time they can actually go to work and continue to run a successful business. So this leads me to my first clash: will incentivizing highly educated individuals to have children affect their career? Now, this was the opposition's main point, and they spoke about how this will make them less successful, less time to devote to their work, and about how raising a child actually requires a lot of effort. Now, we are saying that when we mean incentivizing highly educated individuals to have children, then this whole incentivization doesn't mean just giving them money. It means to implement new family-friendly policies, a supportive work culture, and promoting diversity and inclusion, right? So through these new rules, so that they can actually balance their work and their children. So it's a win-win. So now, if we use and implement these policies, it's not going to affect their career, and at the same time they can actually properly raise the child. Now, the op has assumed that when we mean that highly educated children have to when we mean that highly educated individuals need to have children, then they need to stay home the entire time and teach their kid. We're just advocating for a better normal parent relationship. However, this will be better than the current relationships because of how much the parent can actually teach the child, and this will make the child grow up to be more successful, and the child will pick up and learn a lot more earlier on in life. So it reduces the amount of experiences that negative experiences the child needs to go for to be successful, because the child would have already learned that from their parents. Any POIs? Okay, seeing none, I will continue with my speech. So we win this argument as we have proved that the highly educated children having highly educated individuals having children do not affect their career, and it also helps the child. So this kind of refutes the first speaker's entire case. Now, moving on to my second clash: will this entire idea actually end up helping the child? So the opposition kept talking about pressure, and they themselves said that highly educated individuals have extreme knowledge and dedication and commitment, and this only proves how much this can help the child, right? Because through our incentivization, which introduces the new policies, etc., we're actually balancing this whole relationship, and at the end of the day, everybody works. So we just need to change this thought process, and we are not forcing highly educated children, and individuals to have children. We are just saying that if they choose to have, then we will incentivize them through these policies, which will ensure a better society. We also spoke about how that highly educated individuals, due to their success and due to their education, will end up making the child more academically inclined, and this will also lead to a better education for the child, better upbringing because of the parents. And now we all know parents have a huge impact on us, right? So therefore, not only does this extreme knowledge pass down from parents to kids, but as a child, the value of education is understood, which is essential for the future of the child, right? Furthermore, highly educated people have contributed successfully to society, so their kids do have a better chance to actually be more successful due to the fact that they would have learned to avoid certain mistakes earlier on in life due to their successful parents. And with that, I would like to end my
Currently,
speech.
we don't incentivize highly educated individuals to have children. However, the affirmative proposes to do so, which you point out the flaws in doing so. So I've identified the main clash in this debate, which is whether giving money or other benefits to them would be worth leaving others behind in society. So the problem here is that by offering these individuals money for them to have children, we dismiss parents who try so hard for their children to have a good future, but are unable to receive these benefits. So why are we here only rewarding parents who already have knowledge? What about others who may be trying their hardest to nurture their children into a good job and good future, but we're dismissing these parents who try so hard? So clearly, if the model is implemented, there will be problems because these parents are left behind. So why is this bias not worth the incentives offered? So the bias that Affirmative proposes is damaging other parents and children's motivation and equality. So firstly, to the parents, they are undervalued and unseen in this situation, and only those who are already smart get the chance to receive these benefits. So especially concerns parents who aren't qualified but try their hardest to make children's dreams possible. And any parent whose children are doing better than them are unable to receive this benefit. So why is this important? This is important because we are making it so that these parents cannot receive any benefits for their children to nurture them. Even though they may have more time than those parents who are highly educated and have more hardworking jobs. So now onto children. They are also annoyed and they receive no benefits despite any effort. And there is more rivalry over coordination in this case, as the privileges enjoyed by the families of yes, accepted.
The motion doesn't state that you will give benefits to highly educated people. The motion states that we're going to incentivize highly educated people to have kids. It doesn't mention anything about benefits.
I'll talk about how this incentivise would be bad would either way not really work for these parents in a moment. So also it isn't necessarily good for these highly educated individuals either. So firstly, these parents, they either one pass on their knowledge to these children, but they have more stress because there's more education. So they engage in hardworking jobs for more pay more likely, or they don't pass on they don't raise children, so that there's no benefit and this stays normal. So a work-life balance, as you guys have proposed, is not going to reveal good benefits for either side, and because you cannot focus on a specific thing, because time every day is 24 hours, and you cannot do anything to expand that. So you will have to sacrifice some time for the other thing. And when you have a child, it is more than sending them to a school and expecting them to become a master's degree. They require nutrition and emotional support too, and more effort can make it more stressful for these people, as knowledge isn't genetic, and you can't just send into foster care, or else the child can't receive this knowledge anyway. So although they will be well educated after good treatment, these children will not be well supported by other students because of the reason I mentioned before. So rather than a few children doing well, we are able to benefit everyone so that every student can have a choice in their future. And it is important so that it ensures that everyone has a choice to choose and pursue their future, and to actually create a more skilled workforce as they are all given a chance to pursue their interests. Because if we put this in incentivize into benefiting the whole community, we're actually making it easier for everyone. So what does our work currently preserve? We ensure that every child is given an equal start, and so the money is given to highly educated citizens in your model. This is actually give him or her an advantage if applied to help the future of the child, but it actually gives money or material to rely on. So that demonstrates these children they wouldn't need to work as hard because they already have these benefits that their parents may give to them. So in your model, this actually backfire for these children, and they wouldn't actually work as hard. So they wouldn't. We also ensure that every child can go to his or her available potential. Because if we incentivize better work policies, it is very difficult for you to actually do this, and it isn't really a personal benefit. So it isn't worth having to raise a child just for this benefit. And we can also do this currently without actually benefiting, without only making it an incentivize. We can actually just use this instead of incentivizing these. We can just implement it without incentivizing these people. We can just implement this current change. And they talk about benefits, having a variety of things like family benefits. However, there's a time issue that I was talking about before, and they cannot be fixed. Therefore, in our world, we keep a fair society while not putting citizens into a double problem. Therefore, I'm proud to
In this debate concerning the matter of whether highly educated individuals should be incentivized to have children, there was one major clash which I will get onto later in my reply speech. First, I would like to summarize my team's case. I, this first speaker, have talked about how this House would not incentivize highly educated individuals to have children, since it will prevent highly educated individuals from being successful in their jobs and careers due to them losing time, having to give up effort to raise their children, and since they have to spend a lot of money on their children. And my second speaker has talked about how we have to respect the opinion of the highly educated individuals and how we can't incentivize them because they might take it as a bribing and it's sort of a violation to their freedom. And also how a loop will be created in the disruption of success in the careers of highly educated individuals, as the next generation of highly educated individuals will have to suffer a similar thing, similar issues as I have stated in my first speaker speech. Now onto the major clash of this debate. The major clash here was whether incentivizing highly educated individuals is worth leaving the rest of society unbenefited and causing highly educated individuals to be disrupted in terms of their work life. Now, as my third speaker has stated, the opposition has talked about how they feel that incentivizing highly educated individuals to have children will bring up more smarter next generation. But my third speaker has replied to this by stating that firstly, there are only very few highly educated individuals, thus it won't affect many children. Secondly, it's not worth it as it'll leave the rest of society unbenefited. So instead, we should put this funding for incentivizing into something that can benefit all children, for example, in schooling. And thirdly, because it will cause highly educated individuals to be disrupted in terms of their work life, like the first speaker has said. So now, as the opposition side is clearly outweighing the proposition, we feel that we should win this debate, and thus this is why I am proud to oppose. Thank you for listening.
Afternoon again. This speech has gone on long. This debate has gone on long enough for me to jump right into it. I won't introduce anything anymore, right? So then, for the first argument that we brought into this debate was how this would benefit the economy and the education of the child, right? What we've told you about this is three things largely. A, the educated parent will get quality, will just get their child the means to quality education, right? B, an educated child is bound to take the business forward or maybe get a well-paying job, right? See, this contributes to more tax, thereby benefiting the economy. What the opposition has told you about this is four things. A, that it's not good for their work life, for the parents' work life. B, that no one would not be smart anymore, that everyone will be smart. See, that incentivizing them would just overwhelm the parents rather than motivate them. And D, they told you that the parents would slack off once they started getting the benefits, right? Why we win all of this is because A, we're not forcing them to have kids, right? If they feel that it would hinder their work life, then the decision is theirs. Hence, this argument doesn't take place in this debate at all, right? B, the point where opposition told us that this would result in only smart people supports our case entirely, and we really don't see why that's bad, right? See, it's more likely that incentivizing the parents would motivate them because we're offering them a better job that's better paying, right? And we're offering to help with the child admission to a good school, college, university, etc., right? So, on what grounds does the opposition say that it would overwhelm them rather than motivate them? That being said, we're not saying that offering these individuals these advantages will only motivate them. It would motivate everyone, right? But the likelihood leans towards motivating them, right? D, How will the individuals slack off when the benefit is them getting a job? They'll ultimately have to work in the job to get paid, right? For our second argument that we brought then was enhancing global competitiveness, right? What we've told you about this is A, this contributes to a more skilled workforce. B, this contributes to technological advancement. C, it attracts investment towards the nation. D, it enhances market competitiveness. And E, it results in long-term sustainability of the economy. Proper opposition did not engage with this argument at all. Please note, panel. Moving on, then opposition's main argument was whether it's right to leave the rest of the society unbenefited. Why this argument doesn't stand at all then is because we're not giving all the money in the country to these individuals to incentivize them, right? We're not giving them money at all. We're just giving them a means to earn the money. So the government's money is still going to be dedicated towards benefiting, let's say, the minority or the other people, right? So, and the thing is, the reason we're incentivizing specifically and categorically highly educated individuals is because they're less likely, they're more likely to have a better work life, right? Hence they're less likely to have more kids or to have kids at all. Hence we would incentivize them to contribute to a better and smarter generation. All in all, we've spoken to you about why we would categorically incentivize highly educated individuals to have kids, how this enhances global competitiveness, how this helps in redefining social norms, and how this benefits the economy. We've also told you why we've won all the major clashes in this debate, and hence I conclude my speech. Thank you.